to want to pay extremely close attention. The rules are changing, and if you don't know this information, you're more likely to be on the losing side than the winning side. I'm really excited about this. Steve Gracios, Michael Franzese, Katrina Ruth, Brian Dice, the one and only Russell Brunson. Sonia Riccati, we have Molly here, Hotline on Roman Fraser, Michael Jeff Walker, Neil Patel, Dennis I think that there's a high risk of mass extinction of the internet.
Millions of businesses, big and small, closed, pushing us into the worst global recession in history.
The writing is on the wall. Things are changing. Things are happening.
Change in the industry that's pushing people to evolve and adapt or to basically die.
I need to see this to understand it. Something like that will happen between what it is and what. If there was a tactic or strategy that you're most excited about, what would it be? We can go to Steve if you want.
I call this content sprouting. These strategies work for any social media platform.
If you believe it's a good idea, you should stick with it. When your business becomes personal identity, that's when you stick.
This is really crazy. I don't know if I ever shared this with you. Waste the least amount of money to find that winner. That's how you win for $1 a day.
No, I have people that are on my list for 2 years that are still looking with emails.
To get this many amazing people in the room, just amazing. But we're about to take people behind the scenes. That's actually it's amazing. If you want to know what's happening in the future, tune in now.
So we are live. So welcome to a Tuesday live stream. My name is Rich Schefren. We do these live streams twice a week when I'm in town, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern and Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And so today I thought it would be fun to just kind of be here and talk to you and answer any questions that you have as it relates to business building, also kind of catch you up on what's going on with us at Strategic Profits. And so if you're just tuning in, whether it is on YouTube or Facebook or Periscope or LinkedIn, emote, comment, let me know where you're watching from and that you can hear me okay. And also ask me any questions that you have about building your business. At the end of the day, I'm doing this for you. So your questions not only help you, but they help me and everyone else. In addition to that, I'll pull up everyone's comments and say hi to everyone in a minute. Let's see. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure that you join our group, Strategic Profits. It's free to join, and there's lots of valuable resources there. And let's see, what else? Yeah, well, as always, I try and make this as much of a dialogue, not a monologue, and shot some really cool stuff that would like to share with you guys as well. And yeah, I think that's it. So might as well dive into the comments, I guess, and say hello. All right. So I see here that we have a question from YouTube. Is the preeminent strategy the best when it comes to dealing with clients, customers, and would it still apply online nowadays, still effective? Yeah, so the strategy of preeminence is from Jay Abraham, and it's the idea of like the fiduciary responsibility that you have to a client to only settle for their best outcome and to have a bigger dream for your clients than they might even have for themselves. And yes, it most certainly does apply. It applies in any area of business, whether online or offline. So appreciate the question. And thanks for asking it in YouTube. John Winkleman, live. Good to see you, John. Oh yeah, and if you share it or when you share it, please put hashtag shared so that I can personally thank you. Vincenzo, what's up, my friend? Yeah, we got to figure out what's going to be the video for this week. I also have the Michael Franzese video, but I wonder if I think it needs to be edited. And thanks for the video with Michael. My pleasure. Yeah, so Vincenzo sent me a message to give to Michael Franzese, and I shared it with Michael, and then Michael recorded a quick video for Vincenzo. So cool. Hello, Priya. Is that your dad? Since I know that's not you, I would assume so. What's up, John Sinclair? And thank you for sharing it to your group. God bless you. Hey, Hugo. Good to see you in Miami. I was thinking of you specifically. James and Von Elswick and Nick Shackelford are doing an event in Miami in May, and I will be there, and I think you should be there too, Hugo. Hey, Lisa, glad to be back, and hello to you in Miami. Hey, Lewis, long time no see each other, and I am glad that you're here. And hola, Jose, and hello, Mateo. Nice to see you, Mateo. And Brian from Houston, and Raquel from California, from work. Are you in an office, Raquel? I would imagine you wouldn't be, having just been in California. It seems like things are pretty still locked down there. Italy, very cool, Mateo. Alfred in Dubai. I like your picture, Alfred. Very cool. International audience here. All right. And Nina. Hey, good to see you, Nina. And it is a beautiful spring day here in Florida as well. Nice to know that it's nice in Georgia too. Hello, Facebook user from Norway. If you want me to know who you are, you got to go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give them the ability to share your name. Hello, Eric. Good to see you. And thank you for the heads up that we are broadcasting good. Can't read that. Don't read Arabic. So, but welcome. Brian, BGS is one of the best trainings I've gone through. Longtime customer and fan here. My question, the main takeaway many people have from the manifesto is that they should not be at the center of every activity in their business. We have to outsource. But how do you apply that to your product? Many internet business models are built around a personality/guru. It's all dependent on them and their reputation. Can you talk about building a product business where you are not the center of the VA ... All right. So, many internet business around the personality. It's all dependent on them and their reputation. Yeah. So I certainly can. Well, so, you know, for one thing, Brian, you know, if you look at Agora, right? Agora is also a personality-driven business. And as a member of BGS, I'm not sure when you went through that, but I'm currently working on updating it. But, you know, I created it in 2006. And then other than me showing up once a week to answer coaching questions, you know, it was automated and sold daily. So while you could say I was at the center of the business, my day-to-day was not. And you know, a personality-driven business is easier to start and easier to get growing in the beginning than a brand. And unless that brand gains any kind of heft, a personality will just generally do better. What the model that we're following, and the model that I've seen work best, is when a business starts to develop multiple gurus, and so therefore the business is bigger than any one given personality. And that's the direction I want to go with Strategic Profits. And one of the reasons why Steal Our Winners was the front end that I wanted to create was that it would support a multi-guru business really easily, as opposed to, you know, a specific front end that dealt with just me, that then would be difficult to get people into other back ends. So that is the short answer to your question, Brian. If you have a more specific question as it relates to that, be glad to answer it for you. Daniel, what up? How do you handle creative overload, the stress of having to create, write, and edit an unending stream of content? I'm not sure I really understand the question. What does that overload kind of feel like? You know, basically, it's about sticking to what you're good at. So for me, right now, most of the content I'm creating are these live streams, at least independent of all the Steal Our Winners episodes. So I would say that, you know, when you're in your areas of expertise, or you're in your wheelhouse, while there are creative responsibilities or obligations, you could say, if you're in your wheelhouse, then that kind of stress is kind of the beneficial kind, right? It's what juices you, but doesn't overly tax you. The other thing is, I guess I'm surrounded by whiteboards. I have a whiteboard here and I have a whiteboard there. And so I get stuff off of my head pretty quickly onto these whiteboards. And then once a week, I will go through these whiteboards and reorganize them, delete all the things I took care of, be aware of what still is hanging open. And then from there, I'll move on. Anne-Marie, welcome back. Good to see you, Anne-Marie. And right now we have 64 people watching, with the majority on Facebook and wow, and 7 on YouTube. Cool. Nice to see you, Moreno. Is it earlier than usual? Is it because you guys haven't done daylight savings time or something? Shared. Cool. Thank you, Jess. And hello to you. Marcelo, good to see you, man. I think we're talking pretty soon. Looking forward to that. And Yahaya from Nigeria, welcome. Good to see you. Priya, shared with joy. Thank you. This is Giancarlo. I renew again, my 2nd year. And I love the interview with Jay White. Hello, Giancarlo. Cool. Good to see you. And Shelly, good to see you too. Hey, Rich, I missed a couple lives, so I'll have to binge watch later. We didn't have any last week. We were in Cali, so there's not much to binge watch. Shared from San Francisco. Thank you, Oscar. Why do I always lose these? Okay. Thank you very much, and nice to see you. Hey, Glenn, good to see you in Highland Beach, and good to be home in your neck of the woods. Hello, Emmy, good to see you. And the enlightened, Sri Papaji, some eye-washing meditation. Got it. Hello again, Aziel. And how do we get tickets to the event in Miami, or is it like a closed mastermind? I'd love to actually meet you. The event hasn't gone on sale yet. So when it does, we will be letting you guys know. And I'm going to try and see if I can get James or Nick or both to show up on one of these live streams, which I assume I can twist their arm and get them to do that. Thank you, Facebook user, whoever you are, for sharing. And yes, I work on a medical lab. So yes, in the office. Medical lab. Very cool. Very cool. And so is it blood tests and things like that? Romeo from England. Good to see you, Romeo. And greetings to you, Gabriel from Venezuela. Thanks for being thrilled to hear me. Rajesh, happy belated birthday. Thank you. Second, great to see you back. Cool. From Surrey, England in the UK. Ned Bragg, howdy. Looks like you made it through the mobster sit down. Yes, I did. No questions. Okay. I came across the concept of theme theory in one of your reports. Please explain how and why this theory destroys the emotional impact of one's marketing. Where did you come across that? I'm not sure what that was in reference to. So Roman, you got to give me some back with that. Visited StreamYard twice. Hope it works. Norway. It doesn't. Maybe you got to refresh or something. For becoming an authority, what's the best and most effective? Write a book, create a podcast, offer a webinar plus offer. For Josh, that really depends, right? Like the easiest way to really kind of be seen, right, would be to have successful advertising that brings you back customers at break even or better. Therefore, the reason being, right, that you would then be advertising on a very consistent basis yourself, and people would see that, right? There's no doubt that as we advertise Steal Our Winners more people see me, right? One of the reasons why I was really fixated on AI, one, I believe it's the future, and that's an obvious thing. But the other reason is that while we were at Agora, if I created a premium around AI and then it was for a promotion centered around AI, then potentially I could be branded as the AI guy for small business because of what generally happens when you have a successful advertising campaign that starts to saturate. So, for example, James Altucher, right? James Altucher was never really a crypto guy, but we had a crypto promotion, and then that was successful. So we ended up spending 16 million. I think it was 16, or it might have been more. I think it was 16 million on advertising that front end product of James with crypto, which then made James the authority very quickly on crypto, right? But let's assume that that's not an option for you. If that's not an option, then generally the webinar plus offer is also not going to do that, but it's the one thing here that actually creates money, customers, revenue. So that would probably be necessary, but won't make you an authority. A book can make you an authority if it's out there, well received, and embraced. If it sells. And podcast, once again, if you stand above the clutter. So I would say that really it comes down to, Rajesh, whatever format you feel is the best way for you to present information. If it's video, then you should do that. If it's audio, then it should be that. Or if it's written, you should do that. Whichever of those three formats work best for you, that's what I would run with. And then what is it that's going to position you apart from everyone else? And at the end of the day, what a lot of people don't realize is that when it comes to any kind of specialty, more often than not, it is the best marketer of the specialty than it is the most expert specialist that makes the most money. Right? I wasn't the world's best hypnotist, but I was one of the best at marketing hypnosis. I think I'm a good coach, maybe even a great coach, but I was effective at marketing coaching, which is what put me on the map. So whatever you're going to be an authority in, recognize the fact that you have to be good at marketing the expertise or the specialty as much as you need to be an expert at the thing. Hey, Asma, good to see you in Egypt, and good to see you on YouTube. And Francisco, hey. Okay, Brian Owen, thanks. The sentence in my last question that got cut off was about creating a business when you're not the value proposition. How to develop great products and offers independent of a guru. Well, then you create it under a brand, right? Like digital marketer. It's when getting advice, though, advice for it to be valuable for the most part has to come from a known identity, a known source. And it's always going to be easier for the prospect to kind of visualize a person over business. Now, sometimes that won't matter depending on the area, but in a lot of areas that do matter, you're just better off either building out a personality and brand so that you have both and can build, ideally for me, right? Strategic Profits would be more well-known than Rich Schefren. That is not the case at this moment. But as soon as we had a second guru and a third guru, that has a greater chance of happening. I don't know that I'm answering your question, Brian, but I'm not sure what answer you would want as far as developing great products and offers independent of a guru. You would do it and then associate it to a brand, but I'm sure I'm not really addressing what it is you're asking, although I'm not sure what specifically you're hoping to get from my answer. Happy that you are here. Thank you. It's 8 p.m. in Italy. Usually your live streams are about 2 a.m. By the way, I go to bed at around 9. Well, that's the Thursday ones, Marino, I think. Greetings from Denmark. Wow, we are all over the world today, aren't we? Good to see you, Carl. And yeah, must be that California air. I probably put on like 20 pounds over the 2 weeks that I was there. I am losing it as we speak, though. San Diego. Cool. You've known about Agora for years. Well, I've worked for Agora for 14 years. So there you go. Wonder how you ended up here if you're new to me. Hey, Rich, we've been trying to implement Nick Shackelford's framework for creatives using his ad structure bricks, as he explains in an SOW, but there are some bricks that are not so clear to us, like validation versus proof, benefits versus solutions. Can you help me understand the differences with your own definitions? I'd have to relook at that, Hugo. I'm actually going to take a screen picture of it. So hold on a second. Whoops. Hold on. All right, let's do this. There we go. I can. So I'm not sure. I need to look at it, Hugo, and then I can tell you. I'm not sure. All right. Yes, blood and all the bodily fluids. So my question might be an open-ended question. What's the best way to figure out your strengths in business without spending $100K or more going through programs or courses to figure it out? Great question, Raquel. So a couple of different ways. One thing that there are a couple different avenues to travel down. One would be to, I'm just thinking of all the different ways. And okay, so the first way are to think about what topics, if you heard two people talking about right next to you, would you have a hard time not butting in? Right? So that's the first question. What topics would you find it difficult not to butt in if the conversation was taking place around you? So that's one sign of things that you're passionate about, right? Another way to think about it, so that's one question that I would spend some time answering. Another way to think about it is, what Steve Jobs spoke about in the commencement address at Stanford. Talks about how, all you can do is trust your gut, because you can only connect the dots looking backwards. You can't connect the dots looking forwards. And so what I always suggest my clients do is turn around and look backwards and think about all the different experiences that they've had, right? All the things that they're good at. And what have all of these experiences and skills been leading to? Is there anything that's a common thread? Another thing to look at are all the successes you've had in life and what commonalities do those successes have. Another approach is to take the personality test that I like the most is the Enneagram. And by taking the Enneagram, you learn a little bit more about your personality, and that could open up some doors. Lastly, I would ask some people that are close to you, to tell you what they think your biggest strengths are. And oftentimes you will get very different answers than you might have expected. So those are some of the ways. What I like to do also is just list out all the skills I have, what those skills allow me to do, and then who would find what I'm able to do valuable, right? Take all the experiences, do the same thing. All the successes, whatever commonalities, what problems does that allow me to solve? And then who has those problems? So those are some of the answers. A journal is a great place to kind of revisit this question on a pretty continuous basis until you get some answers that you're happy with. That would be the way that I would start. I hope that helps, Raquel. Greetings to you, Carlos, in Venezuela. StreamYard.com/Facebook. Thank you, Oscar. Also, Rich, if you can help me have more clarity on pre-frame position and angles. Well, isn't that pretty much all the blocks? What do you think is the most effective way to reach and engage with other doctors, a VSL, webinar, or challenge? Well, obviously it depends on what the titles are and what the outcomes are and everything else. But I would say that I would imagine that most doctors haven't come across that many challenges yet. And so I would think that you'd probably do best with that. But, you know, hard to say without knowing more details. But I would say that there's a reason why so many people are doing challenges right now. It's because they work. And therefore, that would probably be something to start with. How to create a digital product. What do you mean how to create, Ozma, a digital product? Yeah, you're going to have to be a little bit more specific because that's a pretty wide open question. What steps can I take to strategically establish powerful positioning for my e-commerce store in any niche? In any niche. Wow. I think it depends on, you know, where can you stand out, right? Like why should people buy from you at the end of the day, Romeo? And there has to be an answer to that question. And that question is really going to be the raw material, so to speak, to create your positioning from. So, you know, why should someone buy from you, whatever the thing is, versus any other option out there? That's the question that you first have to answer. And if you don't have a good answer to that question, then it's about working on a good answer to that question and then incorporating that into your positioning. But there needs to be something, right? Whether it's about the merchandise that you offer, whether it's a selection process, there has to be something that is unique, right? And you want to find that point of uniqueness that is also of benefit to the end consumer, right? So unique and beneficial. That's what you're trying to figure out. And yeah, you're trying to telegraph why you over everyone else. So that's the fodder that you got to play with. Thank you for answering my question. The feedback greatly appreciated. My pleasure, Rajesh. I've become excellent in marketing. Well, then you're good to go. Hi, Rich. At a mastermind a couple of years ago, you mentioned the importance of identity marketing. I was talking about, yeah, so Jeff's asking about a mastermind where I talked about the importance of identity marketing. Do I still feel the same way? I think you were launching a product. Did that happen? We were beta testing a product, and I ended up parting ways with that company, although they still offer that, and I'm a big believer in it. Where I was going with it is where I believe the world will be in another year or two, depending on how the pixel war kind of breaks out between Apple, Facebook, Google. But my point is that that right now marketing is more based on context than identity, and that over time it will be even more of a violation of privacy, I guess you would say, and where advertising will be much more identity specific, right? There's no point in running an ad in Barron's or the Wall Street Journal to reach a specific user if you can reach that specific user for a lot less somewhere else. And so my thought was that as we move more and more to precision targeting, that identity-based marketing will increasingly become more important. It's too early to tell right now whether I'm right or wrong in that, but that's what I was talking about, Jeff. And I'm not involved in that product anymore, but it's still out there. So I hope that helps. Nina, I was watching one of your older YouTube videos. You mentioned changing your map of reality to achieve success. It went to a no longer active lead magnet, so I couldn't see the process. How do you change your map of reality? Well, you change your map of reality. Generally, it's not easy. And that's really what transformation is all about. That, you know, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that transformation is like self-help, and they're very different, right? Self-help is just doing things somewhat differently, maybe better, faster, something like that. Whereas transformation is really changing the way you see the world, right? And when you go for counseling or to a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist, they're really helping you adjust your map of reality, right? They're not working on anyone else around. They're working on you and the way you see things, because you act in accordance with how things show up for you. And how things show up for you is based on how you see the world. And so that was I probably created that when we were doing our transformation workshops. We got tremendous results for clients when we did 3 of them. I did each one with a different co-leader. But at the end of the day, as great as the results were, the process of getting those results, not that pleasant. Most of my clients that came to these workshops at some point or another in the weekend, generally towards the front of it, hated my guts and then left loving me more than they came. But most people will, and we're all guilty of this, right? Something is not working in our life, but yet we are reluctant to go to the complete unknown. And oftentimes we have to let go of what isn't working and operate in that uncertainty so that we can discover a better way. But that is not our inclination. Our inclination is to hold on to what doesn't work because at least it's known. And so that has to be disrupted. And most often, I would say that people's maps of reality are not purposely changed. They are changed by happenstance because of something traumatic happening, as opposed to what transformation is, which would be like kind of a crack in the egg, so to speak, and hatching a new way of seeing the world. But it doesn't come without some pain in the process. But Nina, I could probably track down whatever it was if you tell me the video. If you're really interested, I would track it down for you. All right, wait, where did that go? Okay, hold on. Jeez. All right. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I have a question that it would be great to have some advice from you. I'm trying to launch a business based on beer sommelier consulting on demand for restaurateurs focused on Italian craft beers. What would be your advice? Interesting idea. So what would your business be? Would it be helping the restaurants just pick the right beers, or would it be something different? Can you explain that, Marino? And then I'll circle back to the question, because it's an interesting, never heard that before. Yeah, so I'm interested in where would your service, would the restaurants just pay you a one-time fee for the consulting and figuring out the beers, or what does that look like to you? It seems like live webinar show up is way down, but evergreen is not as exciting with lower conversion. Thoughts? Yeah, well, that's the challenge, right? Evergreen isn't as exciting and does get lower conversions. Live webinar show up, I think you just have to work really hard these days to get the show up rate. And the first step, April, is to recognize that just because someone registered doesn't mean they're going to show. And that, in my opinion, it was always that, hold on. Sorry. Hold on. I'm going to mute this for a second. So I always felt that, I would register personally, like I'd register for a webinar, but I wasn't sold on showing up. And then on the day that it was, if I didn't have something to do, maybe I would show up. So I think part of that happens on the thank you page, more of that decision. What I also found was that the more that we had on the landing page, the lower the opt-in rate, right? So the highest opt-in rate was nothing on the page, basically. And the more, but there was an inverse relationship with the more we told, the less registration rate, but higher show up rate. So what we did is we split the pages in two, where we'd first have them register, then we would, on the very next page, tell them all about it, and then have a thank you page. So we kind of split it up, going for the registration first, then going for the show up. But nowadays, right, you should have retargeting pixels on the thank you page. You should be warming people up, letting them know what they're like, what's going to happen on the event, have a cheat sheet that has very captivating blanks so that people want to get the answers. There's a lot that you can do, April, but recognize that all those things that can be done need to be done, because yeah, it's not easy getting people to show up for a webinar. And that's, it's been just a slow, steady decline since, 2008 or 9. So hopefully that helps. But, I would start experimenting with other methods, like potentially doing a live stream and trying to sell on that. You'll see a lot more of that happening, I'd say, over the next year. Great insight about marketing. Kevin Halbert was saying something similar yesterday in the mastermind. Our hook for our ads and marketing is more important than our product. Yeah, your hook is more important than your product at the end of the day, and your offer. A lot of people confuse the product with the offer, and that's not the case. The offer can oftentimes be much better than just the product, based on what else is added, the way payments are made, et cetera, right? So yes, I would say that the hook is certainly more important. And I would say the offer is also more important. And that at the end of the day, that's why I'm always telling people that different is better than better, because you can't see better. You can see different, right? And if the product has to be consumed to know that it's better, then the only way that you can position yourself is with difference and then claim it's better. right? So, yeah, totally agree. And good to know that the Halberts are teaching good stuff. What's the best marketing strategy book you've ever come across? My favorite would be the Mr. X book, would probably be my favorite marketing strategy book of all time. How to make people so curious about what I have to tell them about instead of telling them what I have once and then not have anything to talk about next time. Open loops, Asthma. That's what you want to do. You need to look at open loops and nested loops. Look at those two topics, and that will help you have people hang on your words to find out what is next, right? So what open loops are where you move topics, right? You move to another topic without closing the open-ended questions that rise from the previous topic. And if you do that several times, you then have people kind of waiting for you to close those loops. Does that make sense, Asma? Let me know. Greetings from Sweden. Hello, Mikhail. Thank you for the birthday wishes. We recently released an online guitar course for beginners. We're putting out content, educating people on the benefits of learning an instrument, but it's hard to reach outside our friend followers. What would you suggest to reach an audience when you do something for beginners? I'd be on YouTube, Mikhail. You know, I would imagine that's the first place that most people go to when wanting to learn how to play guitar. And so I would have a channel. I'd be advertising there. That would be the first place I would go. Good day, Michael Cheney. Long time no speak. Oh, cool. You were talking to Alex Jeffries. Very cool. What are you doing in Scotland? Is that where you live these days? Interesting, Michael Cheney. Arish. Hi, Rich. I'm a nurse, and I want to target healthcare workers on self-care, body mechanics, and self-defense in workplace. After market research, I realized healthcare workers focus more on in-house education. So what can I do to get hospitals to notice me and hire me to teach their staff? Or should I consider to change my niche? Well, so the first step, right, would be to figure out who in the hospital makes those decisions, right? And I would I'd figure that out first, right? Then I would contact a few hospitals and ask if you could speak with that person, right? And I would ask them questions that would help educate you about the market. Like, where have they ever purchased trainings for their nurses? If so, when? Where did they buy it from? You have to understand the market better, right? So based on your question, Arish, I would assume that right now you don't have a very good handle on the market if that was news to you. And so it's about knowledge of the marketplace. And the best way to do that is generally in conversation. And in this current environment, I would say for the most part, that's going to be on the phone. And it might not necessarily be easy to get access to these people, but you're definitely going to need to speak to a few of them to get better clarity on how that purchase is made, right? And from there, once you've gotten an answer, then you can kind of decide whether this is the right niche to go down or not. But right now, it's too premature to eject, but you need more information to kind of make the right decision. So I hope that helps, Arish. I suppose the heart of my question is about getting customers to know, like, and trust a brand rather than a person. People do things like live Q&A, people author books, people host webinars. How would this be different for a non-person centered brand? You would do all those things, Brian, but you just wouldn't be doing them in, you'd be doing it where it's constantly referred back to the brand, right? So I could be doing this for strategic profits, right? But I would be making a bigger deal about strategic profits than Rich Schefren. And that would need to consistently be there. That doesn't mean that, people aren't going to associate the person, right? Like Flow with Progressive. You know, she doesn't own the company, but she is a spokesperson for the company. And over time, people associate Flow with Progressive, right? That's always going to happen. The question is, though, is something underneath it, like the brand being built? And it's just about having different brand ambassadors, different people talking about the business, but you would still do a lot of the same things. It's just the name of the person becomes a little less important. The brand becomes more important. What can you say about meeting Michael Franzese video? I've seen him a lot on YouTube. Interesting. Well, what was kind of cool was that he knew some of the people that took me under their wing when I was a kid. So that was kind of cool. And I have the video, and I could play it here, but I think we want it edited and cleaned up and stuff. So I am not sure when we might release that. I'll find out some more answers tonight. But I really enjoyed meeting him, and he was extremely nice. And his pizza place, Slices, the food was really good. It's Roman pizza, and it tasted like the pizza I've had in Rome. And yeah, I watched a lot of his videos before I saw him. And what was really interesting to me was he's a great storyteller, and how easy it was to listen to one video after another video after another video, which at the end of the day is what YouTube really wants. And for me, as I was watching that, I was like, you know, I totally get why this is doing so well on YouTube. And, you know, in fact, Kim was listening, and she was interested in the stories, and was curious for the next one and the next one. And I was thinking about how, like, what I do generally in the videos that I do don't necessarily lead to that, right? If you're giving advice or information or how to, it generally, you're not listening to one after another. And that got me thinking about what would I do if I wanted to create videos like that? And I'm not really sure. I didn't have any good answers. Need to reflect on that a little bit more as far as what topics could I consistently talk about that are more story based, I guess, would be the question. I do want to show you, like, if I could show you two videos. I want to see if I can do this really quick. Let me see here, because I think I can. I think I need to create here. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can do this. So hold on. Bear with me a second. I want to see if I can. Let's see. All right. That's this. And am I on this new scene here? Yes, I am. All right. Let's see. I have a video. I'm hearing an echo. I hope you guys aren't. Choose file. I'm going to play a video from Wes Watson, and then I'll play one from Alex really quick. So 683 is Wes Watson. Let's see how this goes.
Until my YouTube channel started to explode, and then I even capped out with millions of views on this channel that was exploding. First video, 600,000 views. Second, 2.5 million. So when they say that you cannot blow up in your first video, I did, but my business didn't. My business did, because it capped out at 15,000 months, even with all this organic views. So what happened was I got in touch with Rich Schefren, and he showed me the systems that brought me from 15K a month to 300K a month today, and we're still growing. The Steal Our Winners program for $1, you gotta sign up. I'm actually interviewed in the program, and what we're doing here is we're taking all the top people. Rich got all the top people together, everybody who's relevant in this sector right now that's crushing it, and giving you all the tips to level up. People don't understand, it's mindset. If you don't know the mindset, the tricks, and the
So that was pretty cool, right? And I'll play the other one here really quick. So hold on. Got to go back to this for a second. All right, let me do this one. And then let's do this. You guys are hearing this. This would be kind of bad if you're not. This one's shorter.
Hey, what's up, Alex Jeff? So, Jeff, talk about how we 3,000 a month with organic, got to 15,000 a month. And with the millions of views this guy gets with his YouTube channel, he put 1,000 a month. When he got introduced to Rich and the business systems, you're at what now?
300K a month in climb.
100 Ds a month. Want to learn about how to go from this amount to this amount, like I did. When I met Rich, I was making 20K a month. We do 6 figures a month. Steal our winners. Come and see what me and him and every other influencer guru whose work is sold is talking about. Steal our winners for $1. Check it out.
Those were cool. We created some ads while we were there. But yeah, the Michael Franzese video, I think I need to clean up a little bit. What are some of the business books that have influenced my life the most? Geez, there have been so many. The Mr. X book by Jay, I'd say Nail It, Then Scale It. Really enjoyed that book. Anything by Steve Blank, really enjoy like Steve Blank's books, much better than Eric Ries's. What would be, you know, I read so much, Romeo, that it's hard for me to, so much of it is context dependent on like what was going on in my life at a given moment. I'd say that what other business books really blew my mind? Getting to Plan B. That was a great book. Getting to Plan B. Trying to think of other ones that without, you know, all the standard direct response books, I would say. It's been a while since I've been absolutely blown away by a business book. So much of stuff is regurgitated. I'll have to do a live stream on some business books. I think that would be a good topic to do. So thanks for the question, Romeo. And I will do that. I'll make a note of it. How did the market or tactics change from the end of 2019 when you created the phenomenal coalition to save the internet business after 2020? Well, I mean, look, this past year has been insane, insane online growth. And for a long time, ad costs actually went down as opposed to going up, which is what they almost always do, is go up. And now they are going up again. So much more online spending. I mean, that's really been the case. And so much so, in fact, that a lot of big e-commerce people have had, like, whenever the stimulus checks go out, they've had days better than Black Friday, which is generally the best day of the year for retailing, and like 4 days in a row, back to back to back to back, right? So what happens is that the government releases a bunch of money, gives it to a bunch of people, and then that money goes right back up into the internet, into a few people's hands. The biggest difference that I would say is not anything unexpected, at least not by me. I did say, I mean, I asked Brian Rose of London Real when he was on about whether he was concerned about YouTube, and he said he wasn't. And then he had a problem with YouTube within a few months. I said that I believed that Google and Facebook would have trouble with the US government, and things are proceeding on both fronts with Facebook and Google there. So, yeah, there hasn't really been anything unexpected. I would say that the only thing that is vastly different is how much money is now being spent online, which has certainly been accelerated tremendously by COVID and everything else. Hi, Rich. Great to hear you as always. Could you recommend the best comprehensive course when it comes to sales funnel building? Sergey, I would say that it would be Todd Brown's course. I would think, Todd and I worked very closely together for a long time. He's one of my closest friends, someone I greatly respect and admire. And you can't go wrong learning anything from Todd Brown. So what are you, Dr. Vogelman? What's your Enneagram number? Hi, Rich. Are you one of the new raving fans or evangelists of audio-only social media sensation that is Clubhouse? I like Clubhouse. I haven't been on it in a while, actually, but I am a fan of Clubhouse. Just too busy to spend that much time on it. Good to be back, Jason, and good to see you in Tampa. When you approach the clothing business, music business, hypnosis business, and then your online baby sites, how did you channel your business work ethics towards the different situations? Like as far as if you weren't really into out in the beginning. Well, okay, I'm not really sure what you're asking me here, John. What I would say is that this is by far the most difficult business because of all the businesses I've run, right? And that's partly because when it came time to the clothing business, music business, or hypnosis business, I really much more operated just as a business owner. Like with the clothing store, right? While I did each job, at different times, it was really clear that you have to have a business. You have to have salespeople, cashiers, men's buyer, women's buyers, etc. Right? With the music business, I'm not musically inclined, so that was relatively easy not to be a technician in that business. And then in the hypnosis business, I got trained in hypnosis and was the first hypnotist for our company. But as soon as we gained any momentum, I quickly got out of that role. So this is the only business I've ever had where it's my name, and that is different, right? The name of my clothing store was Antique Boutique. The name of the record label was AB Audio, and the name of my hypnosis centers were Dynamic Changes. Those names mean something just like Strategic Profits means something to me, but my name is even more important to me than a business name, right? Businesses come and go. I plan on keeping my name till the day I die. And so because of that, it's more difficult to run this business, primarily because as a creator, I am more like an artist than I am an entrepreneur. And what I mean by that is that most things are very black and white in business when you're not part of the product. When Rich Schefren, am part of the product, now am I making, sometimes I don't make the best economic decision because I'm factoring in other issues, which if I was being more objective, I would probably handle it differently. So I'm not blocked from making those decisions, but they don't feel right for me, the creator. So I'd say that that's the difference, and that's what makes this more challenging, because every other business has been much more black and white, like why we're doing this. So I'd say that is probably the biggest difference. Hey, Milos, good to see you, my friend. And yeah, well, has it been a wild time for you or just a wild time for me? How many cans of Monster did I drink today? I think that's my second, but I could drink a lot and it doesn't really impact me. I like the taste and I don't drink soda anymore. Thanks. Then the power challenge intrigues me. Okay, cool. By the way, I wanted to give you an update on your advice in our meeting in Delray. I found a mastermind group for e-commerce business owners. Great, Hugo. It's looking pretty good. I'm traveling tomorrow to have my first mastermind meeting in this group. It's incredible that after a conversation, all of a sudden a group that I was trying to find shows up. It's called synchronicity, Hugo. That happens a lot for me and the people around me. So I'm glad to hear that. It makes me happy. Thank you so much. That was very helpful. Glad. Wow. Am I in that much of a delay? Wow. Hello, Denise. Glad I'm back too. Missed the beginning, so you may have a few comments already. Any great Wes nuggets from your meetup? Wes is doing fantastic, but I think it's a challenge, and I didn't get the chance to talk to him as much as I'd like. And he's working, you know, he's helping his wife right now, and so that's occupying a lot of his time. If I would have had more time with Wes, what I wanted to talk to him about was that, you know, his business is on fire, but in my opinion, like he's at a plateau, and that plateau is many millions of dollars. So that might be totally fine. The next evolution for his business is he's going to have to let go of the reins, and he's going to have to decide whether he wants to do that or not. I wanted to have that conversation with him one-on-one while I was there, and we just couldn't manage the time. Other than that, Wes is kicking ass and taking names, and his business is really growing. And I see the next step, and I just hope that he sees it. Yeah, Dr. Vogelman, the world wants to know, what's your Enneagram score? I have started e-commerce home decor store, how to get daily sales. Well, why, you know, I would be thinking about that a little bit differently. I'd be thinking of that is one like big move, right? From someone not even on your website, not knowing you exist, to buying from you. So the first step is, how are you going to get people to your site? That's a much easier question to answer. And why should they come to your site? So I would ask you that question. Why should people come to your e-commerce home decor store? And what will they find there? And what plans do you have for being somewhere other than your website so that you can attract people from wherever they are, where there is traffic, to your? That's what you got to start figuring out. Digital product, something I can sell by making people download it, like app, not a product like cell phone, for example. Okay. An ebook and an online course. Cool. Yeah, that doesn't help me enough to help you, Asma. Like, do you have a niche figured out? Do you have like what we're, you know, this is so wide open. I'll try to explain this as best I can. I've only attempted advertising once. I didn't go through really knowing what I was doing, so I lost money, but now I have received some training and can follow a rather than build more products. I feel I am answering my question now, but I still wanted to throw this out. The trial and error associated with going through advertising and doing it step by step. All right. Well, what I would say is that if you're, it's not an either or, right? But if you're not selling enough of your product, creating another product is not necessarily going to solve that problem. You're going to be right back at where you are right now. Now you'll have two products that aren't selling incredibly well. So yes, you need to take things to completion from a standpoint that you learn some things, but now what? Like, and if you're a subscriber to Steal Our Winners, I would strongly recommend that you look at last month's Charles Kirkland approach to winning Facebook ads, because the people that I know that have done it have all told me that it's made a dramatic difference for them. I am thinking about making book, but I'm not good enough to write a book yet. Well, you can have it transcribed and then edited, Asma. But what would be the book? What would the book be about? Oh, I got insider info on the Pixel Apple. Use conversion API, get the same data. Facebook. Interesting, Nina. Message me. Let's talk about that. Do you think the Agora model of paid newsletters is something that would work for other businesses, like a paid newsletter versus free for a dog breed lover? It could. I mean, Steal Our Winners is like a version of the Agora model, right? It's the idea that there's a continuity and that you can leverage a premium to sell that continuity. For a dog breed, what would you cover in that? And would there be enough new each month, quarter, what have you, for it to support something like that? That's the only question I have. But if there's a large, hungry audience that's into that, then by all means, oh, you couldn't hear Wes's video. Oh, crap. And I don't, like, I'm so far behind on this. Oh, what a bummer. Sorry about that, guys. See, then, hi, Rich. Abraham wrote a book, Getting Everything You Can Out of All You Got. And he used his practical knowledge of consulting many companies from different and varied industries. My question is, do you use a similar strategy for your own clients to increase their sales and profits? How do I copy or imitate that particular sales and marketing for new clients? Well, what you're doing is that you're always looking out at what works in every industry and pulling stuff back. But yes, not only did Jay do that, and I do that in our day-to-day, right? And it helps that we're both generalists and we work with lots of companies, but we also did that as our main base, right? Jay took the area of direct response and brought it to entrepreneurs. I took the area of what big consulting firms were doing for bigger companies, and I brought that to entrepreneurship. So we both took actually whole bodies of work and brought them to the entrepreneurial market. And then to your point, it's about recognizing what works, one, and then why you think it works, so that you start having different ways of kind of parsing stuff. So, for example, if you're looking at a supplement ad, right, and you notice that all of them are 1, 3, and 5, like, what can be taken from that? If you notice that they're always being sold that way, that might be appropriate for selling other things. And so that's kind of the process. But I think for Jay and I, what I would say is that we're both extremely curious people. I just was with him on Saturday, so 3 days ago. And that curiosity has us kind of looking at things that are working and thinking about why they work and what is the bigger takeaway. And because of that, I think we just naturally gravitate towards that cross-pollination, but it's also based on what we do for a living. Both Jay and I are generalists, which puts us in touch with a lot more varied industries than most people, right? Finding a unique sales position, basically finding your own angle to promote that's unique to you. It's a very important part of business. If you can harness it to set yourself apart, like Domino's did back in the day, is that your position on it? Or do you have a better opinion that I could see it more clearly with? Basically, it's it's unique sales proposition, right? Unique. It's why people should choose you. What's your big promise? And what promise can you make that others won't make or can't make at the end of the day? That's like, that ultimately is what it's all about. And so there are many ways to kind of get at it. Like, if you're going to a market that that is struggling to get an outcome, you could ask them why they think the things in the past haven't worked, and then have a solution that overcomes those things. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a reason why people should buy from you over all others, then your customers aren't, or your prospects aren't going to have that either. And that's going to be a problem. If you were to pick just one tactic to grow your business from 0 to 7 figures in less than a year, which marketing strategy would I use? I would say joint ventures, because you're tapping into the work that others have done in aggregating that audience. And in 1 year, I went from 0 to 7.4 million with the manifesto, having it go viral, and having some affiliates, right? That's interesting. Thank you. I've been doing all the things that you mentioned, and it's so frustrating. I hear you. I hear you. Best marketing done for a yoga company, which is inspiring you, in your opinion? Best marketing done for a yoga company? I'm not sure I understand the question, Tony. It would be a one-time fee to analyze the menu of the restaurant and the restaurant's positioning. Then it would be a membership to list the beers pairing with food based on seasonal beers. Moreno, what I would do is I would talk to some restaurant owners and try and sell them. And they will give you their objections. And you will then have to kind of filter those objections through a process of kind of determining what the right approach should be. So in something like that, you know, it's called customer development, right? And the stuff about like the lean process for you specifically would be very valuable, especially as it comes to, is this a problem in search of a solution? Has anyone tried to solve it? Are they willing to spend money to do this? And while it gets easier over time, you're trying to validate the assumption of whether or not this is a sellable service. And the easiest way to do that is to get in touch and try and sell it and see what response you get. Are there any tools you use to forecast future trends? Just I read a lot and I keep my eyes open and I think about the implications of what people tell me. Your favorite PR book to generate more free publicity? It's about being interesting, unique, and having interesting stories at the end of the day. And the more interesting stories you can come up with, the more PR you get. I'd say Pinterest is probably the best for home decor for sure, Rajesh. They increase profits, giving their customers a better taste journey. Yeah, I dig it, Moreno. I wonder how restaurateurs will see that. And also right now, with most restaurants suffering, as we come out of lockdown, it could be interesting. Maybe this is a way for restaurants to kind of differentiate themselves. Maybe there's something that you can do as far as with the breweries and the restaurants. But I would try and sell it to get some immediate feedback and then kind of think about what that feedback tells you as far as your next steps. Happy birthday. Lots of love and success. Thank you. I am 50. Shared in my group, Live Event Marketers. Awesome. Thanks, Rich. Yes, that's helpful. But because I'm an introvert person, that makes me answer once, not having the ability to open new topic until end of what I'm talking about. So now I'll follow your advice. Okay. Hey, Rich, what is your process to choose a project to work on? It depends at different times, right? Like most of the time I like to create, if I'm really perplexed and I'm not sure and I'm looking at a bunch of projects, I will often create a grid. I will, in other words, a table, and the rows will be the different projects. The columns will be different characteristics of the projects that I'm trying to rank. So, you know, which will be the most profitable in total, which one will bring back money sooner, which is what level of work does it need? how much work needs to be done before there's a payoff. I start to rank all of these. And by doing that, if I want to rank them and then add it up, I will do it from 10. 10 would be the best then, and 1 would be the worst. But if I'm just ranking them to kind of get a per view so I can compare, then it's just 1 to 10. But generally, I don't need to do that unless there's too many options that I'm really unsure. Stories of your success and client success you've helped them achieve. Lessons are always hidden in stories, but people love stories. Got it. No echo. Okay, well, that's good. What are the top 3 ways to increase customer retention in an e-commerce business? A coupon that expires for some period of time after that first purchase for the second purchase, right? An upsell would be another way. An offer to apply a credit for what was purchased for some bigger grouping. So those would be some ways right off the bat. Thanks for the Q&A, Rich. See you next time. See you later, Brian. Sorry, Rich, I don't know if you answer, but how many cans of Monster have you ever drank in a day? And which Monster is my favorite flavor? Well, Sunrise is my favorite. And I don't know what's the most I've ever drank in a day, but I don't feel anything from these. So I could literally be drinking them all day, and I don't know that I would. You know, I generally drink 1 or 2 of these a day, and I don't feel much of this either. I didn't have any of it when I was in California, and I wasn't dying or have a headache. No sound on those videos. That's a bummer. Rich, is the pizza place you mentioned Slices in Corona Del Mar? Because they just opened. I live around the corner. I think so, Jesse. And that was that's Michael's restaurant. Oh, that's such a bummer that you couldn't hear it. Oh, and then the sound was working. Okay. No sound and then sound. Weird. Rich, to me, the brand is you. That's why I'm here to listen to you. I really do not care about others on your channel unless you do make them a one-time guest and you as the host interview them. For me, if you are not present, there is no need to attend the channel. What is your opinion? Well, I mean, that's to each their own, right? Amit, I totally get that and I appreciate that. But I would say that, like, you know, Matt has really valuable things to share. And if we ever get Michelle or Jack on one of these live streams, they would have valuable things to share as well. So so hopefully that's, I understand what you're saying now. Slices, is that the same one that was on a recent episode of The Prophet? I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't think so. Hey, Renan, good to see you, my friend in Brazil. Hey, Michael, where can we get the Mr. X book? I've got a bunch of them in my garage, but other than that, Jay Abraham, I guess. A 7, The Enthusiast. No surprise there, but it does help me to unleash my real personality, just as Katrina Ruth has admonished me to. Yes, you need to. Yep, reputation is everything. That's why you play the long game, for sure. Will you please share a few tips on what we need to know about theory of constraints? Sure. All systems have a goal. No system creates an unlimited amount of that goal. So there is always something constraining the system from achieving more of its goal. At any given point in time, there can only be one constraint that is currently constraining the system. As soon as you remove that constraint, there will be another one. But part of theory of constraints is identifying where the constraint is in the system, identifying where it would best be in the system, and then moving it from where it is to where you want it to be. That is the process. Obviously, it's more complicated to do it than to explain that, right? Generally, we find the constraint by doing a root cause analysis, and a constraint can be physical, like, you know, a specific widget or something that you don't have enough of. But it can also be, you know, or the way the machines create something. There's one machine that is slower than all the others, and so that kind of determines the flow. But there can also be paradigm constraints, rules, ways of looking at things, etc. And so, and actually, in my experience, there's a lot more paradigm constraints than physical constraints, especially in online businesses. And so the goal is to identify that constraint, to basically subordinate the rest of the business to that constraint. You know, there are steps. They're called the 5 focusing steps. First is to elevate the constraint, then to subordinate everything else to the constraint, and then only then after that would you add more of that thing. So those are the basics, I guess. I hope that helps, Romeo. Wild time for me. Can't wait to see what you've been up to. I'm trying to catch up. I want to hear more, Milos. What do you think of Beacon Street, a group of Agora companies going public via SPAC? It's not Beacon Street. Maybe Beacon Street is, but Stansberry and Legacy there's a $3 billion offer on the table for them. Okay. 7 at 98%, 3 and 8 tied at 93%. Pretty high on other markers, mostly in the 80s. 6 and 9s are the lowest. Now I feel naked. I generate millions a month doing that very thing right now. What's that, Joel? I'm not sure what that is. But glad to hear you're generating millions a month doing that. How does one become a publisher for Agora in the investing research space? Generally, you work your way up to publisher. And generally, people come, I'm trying to think, like most come through editorial. But you know, Agora is a company where you can rise up really fast. In fact, I did a whole presentation on that once about, I've never seen a company where someone can quickly rise. I've never seen one faster than Agora. I'm making a website about summary books and wanted to earn money from this website, like small business. I'm getting affiliate links for books, but not working, maybe because I already summarize it. Yeah, that's part of it, but you're also competing with a lot of different people who are in the book summary business. They generally charge for that. They don't make most of their money. They're not going to be making from affiliate links. They're making most of their money from the subscription. So it's just about understanding the model, Asma, a little bit more before you dive in, I'd say. Okay. Christopher Vogelman, Katrina Ruth will definitely take you to task for not showing up 100% authentic. Love her. I asked her years ago about planning a course ahead of time, and I'll never, ever consider doing that after her reaction. That's funny. Angel, do you know how to position a product into the market? Yes. How do you know how to position? Angel, you look at you look at the prospects that you're targeting, and you got to get real about whether you think that will resonate with them or not. Angel, if you're a Steal Our Winners subscriber, I would recommend that you follow Charles Kirkland's process for a winning ad to actually test different positionings as well and have the highest likelihood of success. Hi, Rich. You mentioned joint ventures as a way of scaling a business of 6 or 7 figures. Would that also relate to sales and marketing, coaching, and consulting? Do you know Sohail Khan by any chance? The name Sohail Khan sounds familiar. But yeah, joint ventures is the fastest way to scale. There's no question. Of course, you have less control long term, but if you're asking me how to make the most and the shortest, that would be the way. So Denise, I'm a 4 with a 3 wing, just to let you know. So, but very strong on both wings. So you and I, Denise, are the same. We're both 4s. Cool, Moreno. Can you show the whiteboards next to you? I can't right now because the camera's all the way over there. And I'll do that next time. How about that, Oscar? I guess that I have a 3 and 8 wings, not bad since Vogelman means bird man in German. Do you personally know he's one of the top joint venture experts? Although originally from the UK, he is now based in the US. Yeah, I don't know him, but the names I've come across his stuff. I just don't know him. Instagram. Advertise on Instagram. That's with a product that the way a lot of people do e-commerce these days is they get an offer or they have a product, a thing that is more desirable than everything else they have. And that's what they advertise, bringing people into their store to buy that and possibly other stuff. So, you know, in retailing, it was the same way. We had a few items that would make our season every year. And those would be the items that we would be advertising if you know, the online world was there at that time to bring people in, right? So what's the best product you have? What is the most popular? And can you run ads for that to, you know, get more customers? I'm new to the digital marketing space and I have leads that I want to pitch my services to, but they do not know anything about my business yet. How can I pitch them on a first-time basis? Well, if you have leads, you could target them. You could actually have some of your stuff show up, like if you want to advertise to those people, because you can target them. If not, though, then you can email them and get into a dialogue with them. That would be the start. You know, I mean, reach out to them and explore where they are, what they're trying to achieve, what's stopping them, and see if you can be helpful. That would be the place to start. I'm an 8 with a 7 wing. I read wings can only be next to the main number. So even though a number was higher, like 5, I can only be an 8 with a 7 or 9. Yes, that is true, Nina. For sure. What platform would you say is the best to advertise to sell branded specifically for your websites? I'm not sure I understand the question, Raquel. All right, relating to your hypnosis business, what would you do now to get traction, clients for mental health local businesses with competitors that have no idea of marketing or advertising? Well, that's kind of what I did. And I figured out a model that would allow me to advertise by selling packages. And then because our average order value was so much higher than other hypnotists, we could afford to spend a lot more on advertising. So we saturated New York. And it's the same as it relates to the online world, right? I've already have offers that I've created, but my block is taking the first step. Okay, we'll take that first step. I don't know what do you see as that first step? If you wanted to start a copywriting career from scratch, no context, track record, no portfolio, how would you go about it? Greetings from Tijuana, Mexico. I would try to find someone that is already doing advertising online that I feel I could beat their control. And then I would be willing to do the work if they would be willing to do the test. And in the beginning, that, like, if you can write something that wins, I would offer, like, I'm willing to write it, pay me if it beats your control. And I would do that so that I could get a track record and a history of success, and also get some new clients. That would probably be the way I would go. So hopefully that helps, Richard. You're welcome, Romeo. Does Agora also publish its newsletters or online e-zines in the UK? Yeah, worldwide. Rajesh, worldwide. Which is the best Facebook marketing coach? For e-commerce, I would say Nick Shackelford. What was your favorite SOW last month and why? Mine was Kevin Rogers on copywriting. The banter back and forth between you added to it as well. So let's see here. Trying to look at what Kevin Rogers, are you asking? Let's see here. Was that this one? Yeah. Oh, Fernando Cruz's was my favorite. Fernando Cruz. If you haven't watched Fernando's yet, you'll dig that one, Jason. What does Caleb O'Dowd teach in his recent Steal Our Winners training? Offer creation. And considering how well his webinar did, offer creation was the right thing to interview him on. What are the major changes taking place in digital marketing space today? Well, it's all about that pixel thing that Nina has some answers on. That's the primary. Hey, from some pics, like your trip. Looks like your trip was a good time. Making plans for a trip end of month. So needed. Yeah, I hear you, Davey. How is email currently working for e-commerce stores? At least 20% of sales, Rajesh. Rajendrashini. But at least 20% of sales. I'm a 3, 4. Yeah, we're compatible, Azel. How to learn about it. How to explore to continue. I don't want to give up. How to learn about what? How to learn about selling online? Or I think you got to pick, Ozma, another direction to head down, and then, but this time test before doing a lot of work. And then it's about like, what is the smallest thing that I could try and get someone to act on, and based on whether they act on that or not, do I have something here? The challenge is like you did a lot of work only to find out it wasn't going to work. So guys, I'm not sure. Was there no sound on either of those videos? Let me know. The best Facebook marketing coach on the following, talking more. Yeah, it depends though, right? Like Paul Elliott, Mark Entrim, Johnny Cooper. I would say that like for e-commerce, I'd put Nick Shackelford as probably number one. But that's for e-commerce. Selling websites that are branded for you, basically selling a website. What is the best platform to advertise it on? So you want to sell websites that are branded for you? I would say, who's the target? If it's what I'm thinking, probably Instagram or Facebook, but I'm not, because you can target so well, but could be LinkedIn. It depends on if you're looking for a specific profession. Like if you're looking for coaches, for example, you could target them on LinkedIn or on Facebook. Yeah, it really depends on like, how are they branded? I guess that's my question. Do you mean done for you like a service? I think I see people on Fiverr who do this for drop shippers and websites that run Google ads to do this for SEO. Not if you work in a pretty industry. You can go to Upwork, then run TikTok promo videos. Yep. Cool. 98, 97. I'm not sure what that is. You can go to our site, Rajesh, at Strategic Profits, and then just put in, like, there should be a number 3 on the page. You'll see Steal Our Winners. Just click on that. What is the best books about persuasion? Well, if you haven't read Influence, I would read that. And then by Robert Cialdini, and then The Hidden Keys of Persuasion by Blair Warren. Would love your comments on pattern interrupting in marketing. It's become mainstream to do nutty things. Yep. Yeah, you got to stop the scroll, you know, especially in any kind of video ad. You got 3 seconds tops to stop the scroll. 5 seconds on YouTube before skip this ad comes up. So you got to do something to get people to stop. And that's increasingly more difficult as people become more accustomed to crazy things. Any market or industry can be disrupted. That's, it just takes creativity. You mentioned Caleb O'Dowd's SOW. Did he get a lot of attention from SOW? Always curious how the interviewees do after SOW publishes. Oh, I don't know. I mean, but Caleb's a pretty well-known person, and his offers are incredible. What are the common mistakes in customer acquisition? Well, the most common mistake is trying to make money on acquisition, right? So most businesses try to make money on the acquisition of a customer, not realizing that the number of customers is the biggest leverage point in their business if they can get people to buy more often and buy more expensive things. So the acquisition of a customer is more of an investment than a payoff. And so that would be first and foremost. Then the next thing is not working on average order value enough so that the cart value is in line with what it's costing to get someone to the page. So those would be the ones that are most pervasive, most common. Either they don't even get it, right? They don't get that acquisition is acquisition and not really shouldn't be looked at like we're making a sale, although we're making a sale to get a customer. We're not getting a customer to make a sale. That, and then not working on average cart value, and that's bumps, upsells, and everything else, conversion rates. That sound didn't work at the beginning of the videos, and then it started. I could hear both. Okay, cool. There wasn't sound in the first 20 seconds of the video, and then I could hear. Cool. Cool. Great. Mostly unintelligible. Oh, bummer. Okay. There was no sound for the first 10 seconds. That's weird. Which is currently the best platform for affiliate marketing? Well, YouTube is probably the best, I would say. Because you can't even do it on Facebook anymore. Did you mentor Joel Bell? I met him at an event over a decade. I didn't mentor him. I know him. I like Joel. He's a nice guy. Got a new offer and a groove lifer, but a little nervous to bring stuff over to it. Thoughts? Don't be. You don't have to be all in, right? You can always put them on 2 platforms if you have another one and test it out. That's what I would say. Wow, I didn't even think I'd get through all the comments, and I did, I think. Wow, that was a lot of questions. Jeez. So, yeah, let's see. I was at Flight Club, and I won an iPad. That was kind of cool for the, they call it Captain Contribution. And everyone votes on who contributed the most. So I won that, and that made me feel pretty good. As I said, I had my 50th. I had another surprise birthday. I skipped your question. What was your question, Priya? Just put it in again, and I will answer it. I didn't purposely skip your question. I must have just jumped over a bunch, I guess. Yeah, so I had a surprise birthday party, and so that was fun. Had no idea. In fact, I was very difficult with Kim trying to get me to that restaurant because I wanted to work on my slides. And then when I first got there, I only saw the 6 people we were meeting for dinner, and they said surprise, and I was like, oh, okay. but I didn't realize that there was anyone else there. And so I wasn't that surprised in the beginning because I didn't realize that there were a lot of other people there. So that was cool. And then, yeah, attended the mastermind, hung out with Wes, got to spend some quality time with Kim. Also got to hang out with Jordan Menard quite a bit, and James Von Elswick, and Jay Abraham, and Michael Franzese, and Julian Bryant, and Kurt as well. So it was a really good trip, but it was too long. 10 days is just a little bit too long these days to be away from home. I didn't see your question. Oh, that's right. Okay, so I think I saw it. You posted it earlier, right? You can't just copy and paste it for me, Priya, so I don't have to go look for it. I want to start an online business, but my interests are all over the place. Any advice or framework on choosing a business idea or go all in on it? Well, what I would say, Richard, is there a way that you can combine them all so that you have something unique, right? Like, is there any opportunity for you to create something new based on the combination of factors? That would be the first thing. At some point, though, yeah, you're going to need to dive in, right? And a lot more is often accomplished through movement over meditation. So, you know, there's a time for thinking about stuff, and then there's a time to jump in. And more often than not, you're better off trying to figure out what's the smallest thing that can be done where, like, there would be some feedback gotten, and to move in that direction, right? Until there's feedback, there's no opportunity to learn, and therefore there's no benefit until you get feedback, right? And so the earlier in the process you can get feedback, the better. And that could be as simple as a landing page offering some bonus for people to opt in, or something of that ilk. And, you know, that first opt-in, like, is it difficult or is it easy to get the opt-in? And from there, kind of, well, it really depends on the direction that you're heading in, but I always default to what is the smallest amount of work I can do that would then get some feedback to me so I could figure out if I'm heading down the right path or not. Thanks, Davey. Will this be posted so we can watch it again? This was terrific. Oh, well, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, it will be on wherever you're watching, or you're watching this on Facebook. It will be on Facebook. It'll be in our group. Great to hear you as always. Could you recommend the best comprehensive course when it comes to sales funnel building? I think I already answered that. It's Todd Brown, Marketing Funnel Automation would be the one. How do you effectively deal with procrastination? I put myself in situations where I can't procrastinate, where I'm on the line. That's kind of what I do. Oh, okay. She's looking for it. It was. Thank you for that. Well, organic traffic, right, is basically if you're non-advertising, right? So there's nothing really that new there. I'd say, I guess, Clubhouse. If you're talking about advertising, I'd say push traffic. Push networks is one that's not tapped, especially if you have any issues with compliance. It's easier to get through there. I would say that I agree with everything that Davey Paul said as far as overcoming procrastination, setting deadlines, working better, pressure on the fly. Yep. Hi, Rich. Questions. Coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs keep going on about create your ideal client avatar in a particular niche. What's your personal take or opinion on the above? You need to know who you're writing to, right? Or who you're advertising to, or who you're creating content for. So it is very important to have that. Oftentimes, though, I like to kind of put offers out there, kind of work my way backwards to figure out who's responding and get a better idea of that. So it's important. So definitely, that's so weird. Why is that? Why is this even showing? Well, okay. So I hope that helps, Rajesh. Guys, I am, let's see. Thank you, Rich. I can't find it. Can I email it? No, just ask it on Thursday, Priya. Many online marketers give 30-day risk-free guarantees for online products that's delivered digitally. What can be done for medical services that can have such a risk-free guarantee? Well, it depends on the medical service, and you could certainly guarantee satisfaction. You can guarantee, you know, it all depends on the process, right? So what can you guarantee? And what can ethically be guaranteed? Because when it comes to medical, there could be some constraints legally of what you're allowed to guarantee. Why the lights are green and purple? Do you use it to catch people's attention, or is it just background? It's just background. Just something to look different. You know, if I were to turn off the lights, it looks a little boring. I can show you. Looks a little different, doesn't it? Now it just looks like a boring background, right? So there you go. The challenge is never using new stuff. The challenge is remembering the old stuff. So you've been talking about it was a great aha moment. Cool. Love the green and purple. Found it. Okay, so this is going to be the question then. I am the only woman in human history who created a new to the art history painting expression, say like Van Gogh, although my store promotes a new line, what I call neoclassical pop art products. I want to convey in one sentence that runs on top of the site that they are buying art with collectible value subject to the historical achievement, i.e. ROI guaranteed. Because I'm close to the subject, I can't compose a perfect, simple sentence for months. Here is and then I got cut off. Priya, if you're willing to show up on Thursday, I'm willing to help you with that on Thursday, and we can do it as a group. How about that? I use different ones from time to time, Romeo. So Priya, let's work on it on Thursday, but put it to the group and then we can work on it. My camera is a Canon 3TI. It's really old. I've had it for over a decade. The lens is really it's a 1.4 aperture lens, which is what causes it to give you that like shadowy stuff in the background. Shure mic, Scarlett Focusrite amp, and these lights are from Amazon. And that is it. Let's see. So I'm going to turn these back on. Hold on. And I have some other stuff like Stream Deck and Ada Mini Pro, but I'm not using those at the moment. All right, guys. I am going to call it a day 10 minutes early because I told Kim I would try to get some stuff mailed out to her, and I have to run to the post office for something else as well. So good to be back, guys. Glad that we could answer questions today. You guys really threw a lot at me, so I appreciate you guys for that. I know you guys could be in a lot of places, make a lot of decisions about what it is that that's really weird. I was seeing like a broadcast thing for a minute there, and now that's gone. That's weird. Anyway, so just want to thank you guys for being here. Thanks for asking questions and participating. Definitely excited to be back. I got a lot to share and a little rusty today, just getting back into the swing of things. It's kind of amazing that in just 2 weeks, things can change or you can get used to not doing this and then back to it. But it's been a good day. I hope it's been a good day for you guys. I look forward to Thursday night. And until then, to higher profits and beyond, I hope you enjoy the next issue of Steal Our Winners and see you Thursday.